I'm going to use this under the Fair Use Act, and I'm doing this really to kind of correct myself, to be honest, because in a recent video, I actually said that Perry Stone was knowledgeable, somewhat knowledgeable of Scripture, but he proved me wrong just today. Just today, because he did the exact same thing that I've shown that Robin Bullock and Amanda Grace, that I've caught them doing. So he's no more knowledgeable than these other false prophets. And the reason this is so very important is not only are these people claiming to be church leaders, but they're claiming to hold the office of a prophet, the highest office that can be held. And these ones that are claiming are self-proclaimed prophets don't even know the most basic scriptures. And this is just so incredible because Perry Stone is even a fourth generation minister. His father before him and his grandfather and his great-grandfather, and this man grew up in this whole environment and doesn't even know basic scripture. Listen to this, what he just did today.
Imitated the miracle of Moses. He threw a snake down, a rod down, it became a serpent. They threw their rods down, it became a serpent. Pharaoh's not going to be impressed by this. His magicians, when Moses produced a plague,
So he did the same thing, claimed that it was Moses that threw down his staff before Pharaoh, when Scripture clearly states, Exodus chapter 7, verse 10, that it was Aaron that threw down his staff. And realize this is not the whole story behind it, because all of these people assume that Pharaoh was the only one that had a staff. And if you go to Numbers, the book of Numbers, chapter 17, you can actually read about the 12 other staffs, and that Moses had placed all 12 of those staffs from the leaders in the tabernacle of witness, and that it was on Aaron's staff, which was the staff of Levi, that had blossoms and budded into blossoms and grew and produced almonds. Thus, hence, Aaron's staff was chosen, and his family lineage was chosen to be the priest of the temple and to carry the ark. So see that these people don't even know basic. This would be like if you went to Bible school, these are the things you would learn in the first classes, your first semester. I mean, these are the basic concepts, and these are ones that claim themselves to be prophets. Now, I'm going to give you this because this is from Perry Stone's time and my time and many others' times, that even if they weren't good ministers of God, this was one of the most popular movies of our times in my youth. And this was the movie that Charlton Heston starred in, titled Moses. This was the most popular movie of the age, this older age. Listen to and watch what it shows about Moses and Aaron. And this should have been a no-brainer. Even if they didn't know Scripture, I guarantee you that Perry Stone did in fact watch this movie at least one time, because I watched it several times. It was a great motion picture. But there were still some inconsistencies, but watch what it portrays when Moses and Aaron went before Pharaoh.
I do not know your God. Who are you to make their lives bitter in hard bondage? Man shall be ruled by law, not by the will of other men. Who is this God that I should let your people go? Aaron, cast down my staff before Pharaoh, that he may see the power of God. In this you shall know that the Lord is God.
Now you see that even in one of the motion pictures, they got it right. Even movie producers got it somewhat right. You saw Charlton Heston acting as Moses, and the other actor, I forget his name, acting as Moses' brother Aaron. But what you saw was Moses hand the staff to Aaron, and it was Aaron that threw down the staff, not Moses. So see that even movie producers of older times had enough sense to read the Bible and they knew themselves that it was not Moses but Aaron that threw down the staff. And this is incredibly sad because when Hollywood movie producers know the Bible better than these so-called self-proclaimed prophets of our generation, we're living in a sad world. We're living in a sad, sad world. But the significant understanding behind this is these are the prophets. These are the so-called prophets that are influencing and teaching their followers. And they can't even teach them the basics. Not even the basics. The basics that even Hollywood producers knew. So you know if they don't understand even the basics, they can't give you some in-depth, intricate, ancient knowledge that they all claim to have because they make up all these wild, fanciful stories. Every one of them make up all these wild stories that do not line up with Scripture. That's why they know to follow me and steal the stuff that I do, because they know I know what I'm talking about. Perry Stone had enough sense to know what I was saying. That's why he stole the stuff I did. Tom Horn had enough sense to know I knew what I was talking about. And this was a long time church leader. And again, once again, they're too busy making up these fanciful stories for their followers, acting as soothsayers instead of teachers of the gospel. And then they want to call themselves a prophet when they don't even know the basics. So there you go. I was actually wrong about Perry Stone. I thought he knew the Scripture, and he actually doesn't. So he has, I heard him say some stuff that he did know, but I don't know where he got that information from because I'm sure he didn't research it if he himself doesn't even know the Bible. It was probably told to him by somebody, the information he does have, just like he stole the information that I gave. He probably took the only knowledge he has, he probably only got it from hearing it from an actual church leader, somebody who truly knows the Scripture. So there you go, people. Another false prophet fully exposed to be an absolute fraud who doesn't even know Scripture, and he wants to call himself a prophet when he can't even act as a good church leader that could teach the gospel and its truth. God bless.